I'm going to show a few tasks at once now. Basically everything from where something has been extracted to tables and reviewed and merged. So I'm going to move files into their correct locations, name the columns that fit into the data model so that they'll be imported into the keep the receipts backend. I'm going to format those renamed columns so that these are the ones that need specific formatting. And then I'm going to actually import a file. And hopefully we can see if we can streamline this process or just get some help on it. The reason I'm doing all of them at once is one, it's quite a high priority to get data there, so it's more helpful to get one data set all the way through to get it uploaded than it is to get a whole bunch just renamed. So for people who are comfortable doing all of that, that would probably be the best approach. Okay, so the first one, ensuring the files are in their correct location. The file locations are described here. I'm working on provincial data, so everything should be in provincial government / and then the province name. Then a department name, like human settlements, and then the specific file as named on the OCPO website. So I've done one earlier, if I can find it, probably here. So I just renamed these tabular prefixed files and these other files. So I've created folders like provincial government, Free State, Public Works, and then moved the file, and then I created a branch for these changes because I'm doing a few departments at once. I just named it Free State, and then I just made one commit for that. So now we've got these folders for most of the Free State departments. We're still missing health, because that file was quite a tricky one, so it needs some changes. So next I'm going to look at the next task. So the next is to name the columns that fit our defined data model. So that is defined here, which columns we're able to import specifically and how they should be named and how you should identify column names that you'll see in the wild as the specific column. Okay, so department is the buyer, so I'm going to name it like that, and then you'll see in the documentation we don't want it to be named COGTA, the acronym. We'd like it to be named Free State Department of Cooperative Governance, and what does the T stand for? So I've already forgotten what it stands for, so I'm just going to have a look here. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. And then I'll just fold that down. Cool, and save, and I just save to this file. We'll have version control so we can see if we need to revert to the original. That's why it was important to get the original file just saved, so that we can always revert back to the original, and now we can start doing certain cleaning work. For reporting period, we have something close to that, payment period. So I think we should create a different column for reporting period, and there is an instruction for creating issues when there are columns that we don't know how to allocate. So let's just go on to the next file. Okay, so name of service supplier we call supplier name, and this one has been filled down to all of the rows that it should come up in. I don't want to accidentally paste that. Next, business location. We don't have a column for that yet. That's different from implementation location province. So we're just going to leave it as is for now. The actual data model has this as items description, and then unit price is cost per unit ZAR. Unit of measurement is items unit. The reason it's items and not item is because you might have more than one item that had just one supplier for which you only have one amount. So since we have an amount, especially this one, the total committed, where is that? Invoice price, amount to be committed. The total, this one. So this is going to be our so the total expand commitments for the department. So that's order amount ZAR. Since we have one of these for each row, all of these can be on the same row. But if we only had one amount for this one supplier, we would like all of these to be associated with that one amount, and then for the same supplier, and then we would merge them into the same cell or copy them into the same cell, and then it would be items and not item. So we've seen some data sets like that, so we just wanted to make the column names fit for those cases, and then units would also be repeated like that. But in this case, yeah, there's just one unit for some of these columns, some of these rows. Quantity is items quantity. Just make double sure, quantity, items description, items unit. Okay, total price, this is what's been paid. They call that attached BAS disbursement. So we use payment amount for that. Then we don't have columns for these yet, but we've got a column for order amount ZAR. And we don't have columns for these yet. We don't have anything for compliance. We don't have anything for this. We don't have anything for this. So that should be all the columns renamed. So I'm just going to save and make sure that's saved. The next task is formatting the columns to be according to the specification. And there are specifications here, like for the amount ZAR columns, buyer name, for example, award date. So let me do that quickly. So let's start with this one, and I'll just quickly select this and this. Oops. And then Control H opens this, and I'll just replace all the R's with nothing, and that automatically formats the column as numbers. Watch out, if you include the heading, then you're going to end up with that heading formatted the way you don't want. I'm going to also just make these a bit narrower, just to make it a bit more readable. And we just want to glance down and try and see if it's done anything stupid, and it looks like it's fine. So let's save that. Then if we have any dates columns that will be imported as dates, then we want to format those as ISO 8601 dates, but we don't have any of those. And I think but here's another, so why were there two amount columns? Oh, so we want to format this amount column as well. And sometimes you have to remove spaces or commas as well, but in this case it looks happy enough. Okay, then what I don't have in the instructions yet is to add another column for implementation location province. That's how we can select the province quite easily right now. And remember, this is different from this business location. We don't want to just use this column because then we will be losing data. So at some point later we can add a column for that to the backend. But right now what this is telling someone who actually downloads this original file is that they've gone to the trouble of identifying that this business is registered in the Free State, which is quite useful information for some purposes. So I'm just going to set that. Okay, now we've got those fields filled. So we've done the formatting, and if this formatting wasn't done, we would have had problems importing this file. So next we want to go and import the file. So we'll need a few things. The repository, I'll select, let me open that admin interface first. So I go to data.keepthereceipts plural, if that's configured. It's not configured yet. So just data.keepthereceipts.org.za/admin, and if I open datasets, I can see some of the datasets we already have. I've already done a bunch of Free State. Let's add another dataset. So for the repository, this is part of the PSAM opened up in that volunteers first pass project. And the idea with the repository is just we're getting the same data from different sources. So we've got Mail and Guardian's data that they've published already. We're also getting a lot of the same data through our volunteer scraping, but there are differences, which is why there's value in separating it. And finally, we might do a second pass where we're checking for errors on the first pass data, where we can upload it as a separate repository, and then people can select just one repository at a time and see perhaps if they're getting the same numbers, or or you can just search everything and then sometimes have some duplication. So then for the name of the project, I just want to move this closer to the instructions so I can switch back and forth. The dataset name should be descriptive, so something like the province, the department, and first pass would do the job. So this was Free State COGTA. Here I can use the acronym and pass 1. The description should just be a short thing like to distinguish it and explain what this data represents, so more like what it contains. Okay, so that's COVID-19 orders by Free State COGTA, uploaded to the OCPO website. I'll do. Provenance is supposed to tell us the process that it took to get the data. So it basically anywhere where errors might have been introduced. So downloaded PDF from OCPO website. Then who extracted this file? So that was Nicholas Kotze. So I tried to just copy the nickname. Then I online source URL will be our original file, which I got from the original ticket, and I got the original ticket from here, where earlier I reviewed it and I put it into data passes visual inspection. So here I've got this one that I'm about to work on, and the free state is my top priority right now, just because no one else has released that as structured data yet. Then let's paste that there. Then we want a trusted archive URL in case this one goes down. So I'm going to go to the Internet Archive, and in the Save Page Now field, I'm going to click Save Page. And we did want people to enter these into their tickets, but we didn't highlight that this was a task that they had to do. So sometimes it's done for you already, and sometimes it's not. The nice thing would have been that then you know that someone hasn't modified this file since it was uploaded, or you've got a copy for it. Okay, the dataset version initial description would just be initial version. Later on we might add other versions when we correct some mistakes we overlooked now. So now I want the file. I just select the file, double check that I've got everything, and click Save. And here I'll see my free state cogta +1. Then I can go to keep the receipts. And select, this might take a while, so let's filter down implementation location province to free state. I basically want to verify that the data is now available. So then I actually can go free state cooperative governance, and it's looking fine. If you made serious mistakes, you'll see maybe blanks here, or in value. And you can also see your provenance information there, so it's pretty clear where the data came from for any record. So now I can copy this link and write to Nicholas, thanks, this is now live at, and finally move free state cogta to data uploaded to portal. And then I think I'm done. Yeah. This is the wrong one, sorry. Yeah, so then I've dragged it, and I've thanked the person and told them it's on keep the receipts. So that's everything that's necessary to get files on there, and then it's available for journalists and researchers and the general public to explore and download for further analysis.